Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Bradley YT. Today we are going to be doing something different. So basically we are going to go through the certain sort of patterns to look out for in the crypto space. So I'm just going to show you the most common first of all, and then I will just get a chart up and I'll show you each one to look out for and which ones are quite common, and yeah, which ones are bad and which ones are good, basically. So we have a couple of examples here. Let's start on the left-hand side. So the left-hand side is the bullish side of things. So if these patterns happen, then you should usually see a pump towards the upside, quite a big pump towards the upside. And then the ones on the right-hand side here are the bearish sort of signs to look out for. And if you see these patterns playing out, then you shouldn't place any trades or anything like that. I mean, you can trade. You can basically put a you can do a short position on let's say Bitcoin, for instance. If you wanted to short Bitcoin, if you see patterns like this, then you would start shorting Bitcoin when you get to like this point here. So let's start with the bullish side, and then we'll go to the bearish side, and then I'll just get a chart up and I'll show you the chart and what to look out for as well. And I will also show you on the actual Bitcoin chart, because I've still got a few patterns that I've still got drawn on the Bitcoin chart as well. So I shall show you that as well. My speech is really weird today. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Let's start with the bullish stuff first of all. So this first one here is called an inverse head and shoulders, and this is a bullish pattern here. So obviously if we get a drop towards the downside and then obviously trade back up, come back down, trade back up, come back down, that is a inverse head and shoulders. So you've obviously created the left shoulder here, and then you obviously come back down, you created the head here, and then you go back down, and then you create the right hand shoulder here. Once you have created that right hand shoulder, and you do come to about this point here, basically to match these tops here, you shall see quite a big pump towards the upside, which will be this up here, and then you should start basically trading up, upwards, up and away. Yeah, so basically that's called an inverse head and shoulders. You do seem to see that quite a lot, and you also do seem to see a head and shoulders pattern as well. This is bullish and this is bearish. So let's go to the bullish pennant pattern. So if you see a big green candle, I've obviously coloured them in so it's a bit easier to see. So you see a big green candle here, and then you start sort of trading into some sort of triangular pattern here. So this is where you would mark your bullish pennant pattern there, and then basically once you get towards the inside of this triangle, you should break towards the upside, and then you should see that. Basically, if you wanted to measure how big the pump would be, let me just change these to white so we don't get confused. So let's see. So basically this big green candle here would be your pump towards the upside, basically. So you would put this on the edge of the bullish pennant pattern here. Obviously make it a bit straighter, but yeah, you'd put this on the edge of the bullish pennant pattern here, and then that would sort of indicate the pump towards the upside. So let's measure this. So this is the pump towards the upside here, and then you make a bullish pennant pattern, you coil up in the inside here, and then you break towards the upside. The upside potential would be 12%, for example. So that's how you would measure that. Let's get rid of all of this. So basically this one here is called a bullish flag pattern, and I have seen this quite a lot recently, which is why I've been doing my trades. The last 2 days I've been trading Bitcoin, and I've been doing a leverage position because Bitcoin's been looking bullish, and we've been creating these bullish patterns here. So you obviously place. So basically, say you've got a bearish pattern here, or a bearish flag. Oh, let's not do it like that. You've got a bearish flag pattern. So this is the bearish flag pattern. You've got that sort of pattern here. You coil up, and then you break through here, and then this is this green candle here. Then you create a bullish pennant pattern, and then once you create the bullish pennant pattern, you should break towards the upside. If it's basically as soon as you've broken out of this bearish flag here, this is where you sort of place your trade, and then obviously this is basically what I did. for the last 2 days. We've broken out of here, but basically I placed my trade in the middle here, and then we've obviously pumped up, called up, pumped up, and basically I've made some good money. Basically I've turned $120 into about $800 in 2 days. This was just playing around with leverage trading, just because I'm trying to learn a bit more. But obviously it paid off. So don't obviously copy anything I'm doing. Let me just put this out there. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not copy anything I'm doing. I'm just playing with my money, and I don't suggest that you do the same with yours. So let's head over to the bullish flag pattern. I don't think I actually finished talking about that. So basically this is a bullish flag pattern here. So basically you'd have a basically your flag, and then you obviously coil up in the inside here, and then once you break towards the upside, then you break up there like that. Sometimes we do break towards the downside. If we've got if we're looking bearish on the RSI or the MACD, then we could be basically going towards the downside here, and then once we break towards the downside, then we could come down. But usually when these patterns happen, we do pump towards the upside. Let's come over to the bearish patterns over here. So this one here is a bearish flag pattern. So it's basically the same pattern here, but upside down, and it's basically the same. So we come across like that, and then you have your flag, and then you basically trade between these lines. And then once you get to the top here, nope, other way around. I'm getting confused. So once you get to the, so if we go up, down, get to the bottom, and then we will be coming back down towards the downside. How you would measure that is you would measure this red candle here. Obviously it's green, but I did change it, but obviously it's not. But basically, once we break towards the bottom of this bearish flag pattern, then we should be obviously coming down the same size candle as this, and then we're probably coming back down to, say we've got, this is our level of support, and it's quite a strong support. We've hit it many times over here. Then we'd probably fall out of this and then try to retest this support. If we break towards the downside, then we break down a lot further. That's that sort of scenario. Let's look at the bearish pennant pattern. So basically it's the same as this, but upside down, and here's your bearish pennant pattern. So you obviously get to the corner, break towards the downside, and then you obviously measure this big red candle here, and it's the same again. So you are probably coming down to the next support. If you break through that next support, then you will be going down a lot further. So let's head towards the other bearish pattern here. So this pattern over here is the head and shoulders pattern. So it's basically the same as this pattern here, but obviously it's flipped up. So basically, obviously, if you have a pump towards the upside and then you come back down, come back up, come back down, come back up, come back down, then you would basically be creating a left shoulder here. Here's your head because it's higher than the other two. Here's your right shoulder here. Then once you get to sort of this level here, then you will be breaking towards the downside, and you'll probably be coming back down to your next local support. And then again, if you obviously break through that support, then you will be going down a lot further. So those are the most common ones. If we bring this up here, basically you've got a few more bullish patterns there, and you've got a few more bearish patterns. So let's quickly go through the bearish ones. You've got a thing called a bearish double top. So you have a pump, and then you come back down, come back up, come back down, and once you basically come back down to this level here, then you go back down towards the downside. It's basically quite similar to a head and shoulders pattern, but obviously it's just basically just two shoulders, and they've obviously reached the same level here. Bearish head and shoulders, I've just shown you that one. Bearish rising wedge. Obviously you've got a wedge pattern here, so basically you draw your wedge pattern on the chart, and then obviously you trade between the lines. If you break towards the downside, you go back down to next support. Bearish expanding triangle, same thing again. Come up, and then obviously trade between these lines, come back down, break through, and then you come back down to next support. Bearish triple top, kind of the same as this, but obviously it's a triple top. So obviously you trade between these lines, and then you basically create a head and shoulders pattern inside the bearish triple top, and then you break towards the downside, and then you'll be going back down to the next level of support. Bullish double bottom, come back down, trade between the lines, and obviously if you break through the this sort of level here, then you'll be breaking towards the upside to the next sort of resistance level. Bullish inverted head and shoulders, I've obviously shown you that one already. Bullish falling wedge, same again, same as this one, but upside down. Basically, you'll be trading towards the downside, coil up, and then if you break towards the upside, then you'll be breaking out. Bullish expanding triangle, similar to this, but a different sort of pattern. So yeah, trade between these lines. Obviously, you've obviously come down first, trade between these lines, get back up, retest this top here, and then blow out of the top of the pattern. Bullish triple top, bullish triple bottom, same thing as this, but obviously upside down. Trade between the lines, obviously come down, trade between the lines, and then break back out towards the upside. Bullish flag pattern, I've shown you that, but it's just a different sort of different angle. Come up, trade sideways. There's your flag pattern. There's your flag pattern. Then you break towards the upside. Bullish pennant pattern, I've shown you that. Bullish falling wedge, basically very similar to a bullish pennant pattern, but obviously it's more of a sort of falling wedge pattern. I mean it does say it in the picture, and then you obviously break towards the upside. If you break out towards the top, ascending triangle, obviously it is what it shows. It's basically obviously a triangle pattern, but obviously heading more towards the upside very, very slowly. Obviously, you trade between these lines, you break out towards the upside. Symmetrical triangle. This is basically you could either go up or down in this scenario. So you obviously trade between these lines, you coil up, and if you break towards the upside here, then you obviously break towards the upside to the next resistance level, or if you break towards the downside, you'll be going back down to support. Bearish flag pattern, I've shown you that, but it's a different shape. Bearish pennant pattern, I've shown you that. Bearish rising wedge, basically if you drop down and then obviously coil up in this rising wedge, and then you break towards the downside, then you will be coming back down to the next level of support. If you, let's go to descending triangle, obviously come down, coil up. Basically these patterns are very, very similar, but obviously if you break towards the downside of this pattern, then you would fall down to the next level of support. But here you've got a flat line here. Basically all these candles have hit the bottom of this line here, so this is your sort of support, and then you are slowly going down towards the downside, so you can sort of you can sort of know that you are going to be breaking towards the downside of this pattern. Symmetrical expanding triangle, so similar to this but backwards, and you can either go up or down towards the downside. So those are those patterns. You can see them online. There are things like this, obviously, which I've found. They are online, so I'd get it, print it out, have it next to you whilst you are trying to trade or trying to learn the charts, and that's obviously the easiest way to learn. Let me just show you very, very quickly. Let me just come out of that. Oh God, what's going on? Let me just show you some patterns. So here you've got a descending triangle here, and obviously we broke towards the upside. And here's a couple of patterns. So you've got a, let me just go on to a bigger chart. So you've got a bullish pennant pattern here, you've got your big green candle, and then you've got your triangular pattern here. We broke towards the upside, and obviously I timed that perfectly. Then we created a bullish flag pattern, and we traded sideways. Like I said, we can break towards the downside, and in this case we did. And so you'd get this candle here, put it on the bottom here, then that's your sort of predicted break towards the downside basically. And then we created another descending triangle here, we broke towards the downside and then headed further down, and then we created a rising wedge, we broke out. It's basically like a fake out, and then we obviously come back into the rising wedge, and then down here, here's where I drew loads of different patterns, and this is where I made my money the last couple of days basically. So let me just go onto the hourly. I think it might be a bit clearer on the hourly. So basically we had this descending triangle here, so here's our sort of support level, and here's our descending sort of candles basically. So we are sort of coiling up in this descending triangle. We broke towards the upside, and I predicted the break towards the upside. So basically I took this big green candle here and put it here, and that basically was our predicted pump towards the upside. We obviously did come up to retest this resistance level here basically. But we obviously went up in a rising wedge. We broke out of that and then created a bullish pennant pattern. We broke towards the downside, created a bearish, that's a bullish flag pattern, sorry, and then we come back down, created a bearish flag pattern, and then our predicted pump towards the upside was this, which we did do, but we had a bearish flag pattern here, and then we had a bullish flag pattern just outside of it, and we broke towards the upside, pumped all the way to the top, created a bullish pennant here, and then obviously dropped towards the downside. So this is the thing, so you see bearish flag patterns and pennant patterns quite a lot, and bullish flag patterns and pennant patterns. But I'm going to end this video here. I've obviously done 15 minutes of this, but I will see you guys on the next one. This is just sort of like a generic video, so I'll probably be posting this tomorrow for you guys. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, comment down below. Make sure you slap a like on it, and make sure you subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.